Good evening, everybody. My name is Osa. It's Monday, and we are tonight find ourselves playing FS19 Seasons on the Old Stream Farm. And this is the final full episode. Good grief, that tractor needs cleaned. Okay. So, today, did a quick check on the sheep. Nothing needed there. We need to plant fields 1, 2 and 3 with oilseed radish. Later on in the morning when the sun comes up, we'll probably check on 4 or 5 and 7. 6 is grass. We may be able to mow that too. Let's get the engine started. Lights. Rear working lights, front lights, and go forwards. Is very dark. Okay, there's the entrance. Now, late in the year, so I've no idea what time of day the sun's going to rise. But for now, there we go. Okay, we are actually planting something. Oh, we have oilseed radish growth on field 4. That's good. So it's been a while since we played any farm sim. Mostly because I needed a break, and we've had some real life things going on. I should speed time up. I'll speed up time to 30. We'll drop it to 5 when the sun comes up. I'm kind of wanting to move through the day as quickly as we can. What we'll then try and do is run through winter very quick. Because I would like to find out when the sheep start growing wool. I think once we make it through to first day of spring, we will be closing this playthrough down completely, and I will be able to update the Old Stream Farm to the latest version, although there won't be any serious full playthroughs on this farm anymore. I may play it offline, I may play it for discussing game mechanic. And the sun's coming up. All my lights are shining very nicely on that copper coloured tree. Oh. Definitely sun rising. Go back to a ×5. I'm not really sure how to gauge how successful we were on this playthrough. So obviously we started out with a new farmer. So we had a Fendt Favorite 511C, which is the 115 horsepower version. Did I say 511C? 511C. That was equipped with front loader and what have you. We had the Fiat Agri. We sold both of those. I think we sold pretty much everything the farm owned except the buildings. We added about 30 sheep. We bought a T6, which has a little bit more horsepower than the 2 tractors we had. And face it, we didn't need any more tractors. We couldn't get away with 1 for most of the jobs. We rented a plough and a spreader, bought a sprayer, bought a larger tipper, bought about 30 sheep, bought some logging equipment, just the cheap stuff. And we managed to keep the farm running for the first year, which is, with seasons, the hardest thing you can do. Once you've got past the first year, you've pretty much got most of the equipment you need to survive. So yeah, I could carry on with this playthrough now forever. I need seed, fertilizer, and that's pretty much it. I need a lime spreader every 3rd year. So from this point onwards, I'm effectively looking at increasing the amount of money we've got and probably expanding the number of fields. Maybe improving equipment, but on the whole, this is a 1 tractor farm. It doesn't need any more than that. I did take the time to check back on my previous playthrough, which didn't feature seasons, and I didn't plant the same crop in any of the fields during that playthrough as I did on this playthrough. So I don't have any direct comparison of crop yields from one playthrough to another. So I don't know if seasons yields better or not with the extra level of fertilization. Obviously this year, or a subsequent year from this one, is going to be a lot easier since we've now got oilseed radish in every field. So they're all ready for 1 layer of fertilization as soon as we get to planting. Now we've got 164,000, says dollars, should be euros. Playing an American farm with Mrs. Osei last night. and so currency is currently set to dollars. Speed is miles per hour. So one thing I wish Giants would do is allow the game settings to save with each game save you have. So I don't have to remember to keep switching every time I switch to a new farm in a new country. At this stage, I would consider possibly getting a larger seeder, which does cultivation, seeding, and fertilizing in one pass. Oops. And we do have the money to buy that. Another option would be to buy a planter, so we could take advantage of doing things like sunflowers or corn, and buying a sunflower, cotton or corn header for the harvester. Although we do already have a big cultivator, so this fits well with what we have right now. So as far as work on the house is concerned, I think we got most of the doors painted. I think there's one or two haven't been touched yet. All the trim's done. Most of the walls are done. And the ceiling in the stairwell is not done. We have tile on the floor in one bathroom, but we don't have, that bathroom's not usable as of today. You should be grouting that tomorrow, hopefully reinstalling the toilet. And then the tiler will be moving on to the second room, or the second bathroom. I don't know who's going to be doing the ceiling tile in the basement bathroom. We have that bought, that just needs to be installed, and I'm not doing that as my shoulders don't work following motorcycle accidents. So hopefully by Friday the work will be finished, the house will be done and it will be on the market next week. Also, we haven't heard from our realtor all week, in spite of sending text messages to her. So, don't know what's going on there. For streaming sessions this week, since it's the last week of the French objectives in World of Warships, we will probably doing a couple of visits to World of Warships this week. I still have to complete last week's objectives session. I think I have one more out of 7 to complete, and I think 2 that are about halfway through. You can't start the last one until you've finished the third one. And recently, it's the problem I've had with the objectives, because it's a 4-week thing. I usually end up somewhere in the middle of that 4-week period having a calendar full, so that I can't play sufficient numbers of games to complete all the objectives for that week, and that puts me a week behind. I think last week was my busy week, and I have got sort of 90% of it done. And the new round starts on Monday. So we're good there. And I don't think it's supposed to end until possibly around the 16th, 15th or 16th next week. Normally it finishes on Sunday, but they usually run the last week to the next patch, which I believe is, as I said, scheduled for Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Now I see that, let's see, what's it, Greenwich? The Greenwich map is in testing, so I presume that is the seasons ready version. So we might go there to replace this playthrough. As I said, not sure yet. Mrs. Ose and I have started a playthrough on Lono Farm. No intention of streaming that right now, but we might change that. but it's not a seasons playthrough, it's just a regular game playthrough. Because Mrs. Osa doesn't want to play seasons. I'm strongly considering replacing Law Folds with Lone Oak Farm when the time comes. Now, Law Folds probably got a few more weeks to run. We're just about to hit summer. Oh, and it's starting to rain. We should be okay for a while. Depending on how hard the rain gets. Obviously the crops count as wet immediately, but take a little while before we end up with ground too wet to seed, I would think. It's not really raining that hard right this minute, though it's getting harder worse. So we're nearly done here. Then maybe we'll go and do our 2 customary transport contracts. Hopefully it doesn't rain too long. It's only 9:45. Hey VH Trucking, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Join us on a wonderful last day on the Old Stream Farm. So, bad weather, power outage, or just on the road? Yeah, those are my usual 3 excuses for being in a hotel. Our last reason for being in a hotel was power outage. Following bad weather. The lines were down. We were told it would take 5 days to restore power. Well, and I think it took them about 2.5. So it wasn't all bad. Oh, what did you do to it? Reminds me, I think both of my vehicles are complaining about needing an oil change. So I'm going to have to find some time to do that soon. Thing is, these days we don't put a lot of mileage on them, so you need to get them the service done within the next 1,000 miles can relate to you need to get the service done within the next 3 months. Oh, that's not fun. Although the check engine light sometimes isn't all that bad. Let's put the seed tank over here. Work. Now, I have lived without fuel gauges in the past.